It's all over. Cancel the season. All the news we got today, Keenan Allen going to the Chargers is the worst thing. It's not Jordan Addison getting suspended. It's not Kyron Williams signing an extension. This is it. Keenan Allen signs a 1-year, $8.5 million deal with the Los Angeles Chargers, and this ruins us. I've called my banker. I've told them, yes, it is true. In best ball underdog drafts, I have drafted an ungodly amount of the Big Q, aka Quentin Johnston, if you don't know his government name. And now we are having to sit here and we are having to look ourselves in the mirror and go, what the hell is his upside if Keenan Allen's going to be out here running routes? My second most drafted wide receiver at 18.7% of my drafts. In terms of sorted by entry fees, he is my number one most drafted wide receiver. So it's not a good day. Not a good day at all. We are going to have to figure out where Kyron Williams is going after his suspension. Or, I'm sorry, after his extension. We're going to have to figure out where is Jordan Addison getting drafted after his 3-game suspension. And more important than anything, where is the Big Q going to be getting drafted? And am I going to have to continue to take this fool in a ridiculous amount of drafts? So we are in the $10 flock tournament on Underdog. Hopefully you get in these drafts with us. You know I want to draft against you, and I know you want to take my money. So here we are, and I do need to officially do it. We're going to pour one out for the Big Q together. All right, that got all over me, but it was worth it for the Big Q. And in this draft, we have Nico Collins off the board at pick 3. So maybe we're going to get an interesting player falling to us at 10. I mean, if you're at pick... Oh my gosh. What are we seeing right now? Saquon Barkley makes it down to pick 8. Dear God, Malik Neighbors off the board. We're going to get Puka Nacua. I know a lot of people are getting concerned with the Matthew Stafford injury. I'm underweight Puka. I'm underweight Devontae Adams this year, so I'm fine kind of buying them on the dip and balancing out our exposures. But Saquon at 8 is... I will say the flock tournaments on Underdog are a little bit wild. If you have not gotten in them before, you're going to see some pretty crazy draft boards. But getting Puka here, I'm excited with. And we'll see what makes it back to us in the second. Okay. And let's move this down. We're going to be looking at Genty or Derrick Henry. Genty goes. F it. I will take Derrick Henry here. We need a bunch of regular season points in a flock league tournament. Just in case you don't know how the flock league tournaments operate on Underdog, these are tournaments that drop every Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday on Underdog Fantasy. $10 buy-in, $44,000 prize pool, $10,000 to first, $5,000 to second, $4,000 to third, then all the way down the line. If you want to know how do I turn $10 into $10,000, you're going to draft against 11 other people. You have to be the highest scoring team in weeks 1 through 14 to advance to the playoff tournament, where in week 15, you'll go up against one person. If you beat them, in week 16, you'll go up against another. And then in week 17, you'll go up against 99. And if you're the highest scoring team, then in that case, you will be taking that $10,000 prize home to the bank. And if you don't know what best ball is, again, you don't submit your starting lineup. It's automatically done for you at the end of every single week. You don't make waiver wire moves. You don't make trades. Your rosters are locked after the draft. That's how I'm able to draft hundreds of fantasy teams, while at the same time only having to manage the main fantasy football team I care most about during the season. And if you wanted to get in a draft with us, where I'll probably be drafting Quentin Johnston, you'll probably be making money. You can find the link to Underdog Fantasy in the description, comment section, live chat. Usually I always put it there. For whatever reason, I forgot to put it in the live chat. That I'll get that fixed right this second. It's always the link that says draft with us here. And if you use promo code FLOCK, you will get a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. And on top of that, you'll get all my 2025 fantasy football rankings and draft guide cheat sheets. It'll be sent to the email address you signed up to Underdog Fantasy with. And you do need to be in one of these states. If you want to draft on Underdog, good news for you. It's pretty much every state. They're in about 45 of them. You can see the map there. Now, let's move this over. JSN off the board at 31. HD says, is it available in Canada? It is in Canada everywhere outside of Ontario. Okay, Devontae Adams off the board at pick 32. So we are going to get an elite level quarterback here. Elite QBs used to fall to the end of the third quite often, but it's something that's a little more rare now. And you do see Kyren Williams actually going here in the middle of the third round. We will take Josh Allen as our QB1 off the board at pick 34, which I really like the Josh Allen pick, and I have no hesitation to make it. Desire Best asking what our Keenan exposure is. Let me pull up all the Chargers, guys. Lad, I'm at 7.5%. Trey Harris, I'm at 4.9%. And Keenan, I'm at 10.3%. So slightly overweight Keenan, slightly underweight Ladd, slightly underweight Trey Harris, and overweight Quentin Johnston. Okay. Breece Hall off the board at pick 36. Ian says Ladd shouldn't be a round 2 pick anymore. Let me look at my rankings, and I'm going to update my rankings for redraft. Jaden Daniels goes, I'm going to reach on Xavier Worthy. I really like Xavier Worthy in best ball because I think we can get some of those massive spikes. So let me pull up my rankings and let me stop trying to be funny and let's actually figure out where I need to be moving these players post all the news. So pulling this up, looking at 2025 ranks, Kyren Williams, I had at RB13, right ahead of Breece Hall, James Cook, Alvin Kamara. I'm going to keep Kyren Williams there after the suspension. I don't really think much changes for me. Jordan Addison, where did I have him? I had Jordan Addison ahead of Olave, Jerry Jeudy, Stephon Diggs, Deebo Samuel. I do think the 3 games was almost worst case scenario for Addison. So I will move Addison to the bottom of that tier, but still in your regular redraft league. Like in Yahoo drafts, at least that's what I looked at earlier today for that video. There's a good shot when you get Jordan Addison, he's already going to be on your bench. So you don't really get impacted by a 3-game suspension. Obviously Underdog drafts a little bit tougher. Looking at where we need to move the Chargers wide receivers. Okay. First off with Ladd McConkey, I had Ladd McConkey here at wide receiver 11. I'm probably going to keep him at wide receiver 11. If we were to move him down, it's probably in comparison to the other positions. Like in your regular redraft league, I'd probably rather have the elite quarterbacks. I think Ladd is a 2-3 turn pick. He's definitely better in best ball. Like I'm still going to keep him taking him in best ball in the middle of round 2. And then looking at Quentin Johnston, we previously had Quentin Johnston ranked as a mid wide receiver 5 at wide receiver 54. I guess we got to move him behind Bateman. I'd probably rather have Luther Burden. Trey Harris I had at wide receiver 59. Probably rather have Hollywood, Leggett. Cal Williams isn't getting positive buzz either. So I guess we move Trey Harris. Actually, it's just freaking tough because it's going to be a rush first offense. I don't think Keenan Allen has a ton of juice. Like I'd rather have Quentin Johnston and I'd rather have Marvin Mims. I'm sorry, not Marvin Mims. I'd rather have Trey Harris and Quentin Johnston over Keenan Allen still. Like, don't get me wrong. And yes, the big Q turned back to Quentin Johnston. It's tough. It is tough. Luther Burden is surpassing the big Q in our rankings, which he's been drafted ahead of the big Q all offseason. We were going out on a limb, trying to have a hot take, ranking the big Q over Luther Burden. And I kind of have to bend the knee at this point and have to just take my L. Second thing that I will say is when we're looking at round 5. Travis Hunter, you have the positive report coming out that he is looking to play 80+% of the snaps on the offensive side of the ball. So if that is going to happen, realistically, we probably need to move Travis Hunter up in our rankings just a bit as well. Previously, I had Travis Hunter at the top of at wide receiver 32 in the same tier as Zay Flowers, Calvin Ridley, and Rome Odunze. I'll probably move Travis Hunter to the top of that tier. Actually, I'll probably move him to the tier above, inside the same tier with like Metcalf, Pickens, Rice, Jameson, Waddle, and that massive row of guys. I'd probably move, honestly, I'll move Travis Hunter ahead of Waddle. Move Hunter up to wide receiver 26. Okay. Chris Olave off at 61. Deebo Samuel goes. Let's think about this. I think we will have a teardrop. I mean, Jennings banged up. Addison gets hit with the 3-game suspension. I'd rather have RJ Harvey than I would Ricky Pearsall. Joe Burrow's not going to be in play. I'm not taking Caleb Johnson or DeAndre Swift here either. So we'll go ahead and we will take RJ Harvey. No. Swift goes at 64. Looks like Kyle Monangai is running over Roschon Johnson right now in camp, which is super interesting because for your regular redraft league, frankly, it probably doesn't matter. However, if you're looking at best ball drafts, obviously Roschon's getting drafted in every single one. But if Roschon looks like the RB3 in that Bears offense, Roschon's maybe not draftable at this point. Okay. Moy says, what about Trevor Lawrence's rankings? I'm not going to really move Lawrence. It's not like we were ranking Lawrence as if Travis Hunter was going to be a defensive player. I don't think that's changed too much. Okay. But you just have to move Quentin Johnson and Trey Harris down as well, because what the signing indicates of what this coaching staff thinks of those receivers. Like if they drafted Trey Harris and they had Quentin Johnson going into year 3 and they felt great about their wide receiver room, they wouldn't have brought Keenan Allen in, even if you think that Keenan Allen doesn't have a lot of juice. It just kind of gives us a little indication of maybe what we should be expecting from the talent level based off what the guys that are in the room with those players actually, their actions are telling us. Okay. So Dave Montgomery off at 77. T. Tony asking if we're watching Hard Knocks after this. So I think after this, I know I've said this 1,000 times and I'm getting annoying at this point, but obviously the lady worked on Happy Gilmore 2, blah, blah, blah. She was on visiting her family for like the past 2 weeks since Happy Gilmore 2's come out. So I haven't watched it yet. I told her that I was going to wait for her to watch it. So I think we may be watching Happy Gilmore 2 tonight. We'll see. Josh Downs off the board at pick 80. Jamie sends out a Flog Fantasy membership. Appreciate you, my guy. Tony Pollard off the board. I will go ahead. Oh, dear God. Shakir and Godwin both banged up. We have Josh Allen. We'll go for the stack. We'll take Khalil Shakir. But Jakey Wokey says, Mason, my girlfriend's watching. Can you say hi? This is annoying. I'm sure y'all dealt with this as well. You go ahead and you block one of them, right? Cut them off the roster. You say, hey, we had a good run at it. I really appreciate I appreciated our time together, but I think it's probably best for both of us if we just let it be and we call it a day from here. You block them from every platform. Block them on LinkedIn, block them on Twitter, block them on Instagram, block them on iMessage. And they have to go on their boyfriend's phone to to try to get to you. I tell her, please just leave me alone. Please. Now we're going to go ahead. We will take TJ Hawkinson as our first tight end. I think Hawkinson should get the bump up with the 3-game suspension from Addison. Derek G says, any word on when the draft guide's coming out? So obviously 2 different ways to get the draft sheets this year. First way is using promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy and making at least a $10 deposit. If you did that in 2025, it should get sent to the email address that you signed up to Underdog Fantasy with. I am going to have these sheets updated, and I'll probably send out that next email either on Thursday or Friday morning. Second way that you can go ahead and get them is with the flockfantasy.com season pass, which is that $34 one-time fee. Get access to absolutely everything on flockfantasy.com from now until the time where the season ends, January 1st. And if you are a member there, just go to the recent post section and go ahead and look at the 2025 Flock draft sheets. They're right there. Before you think, oh my gosh, if 18,000 people signed up for the $34 season pass, I would love to tell you yes, and I would love to pretend like that's happened. But realistically, the view count just goes up every time someone clicks on this, and people click on it multiple times. Or I can lie to you and say, 18,000 people have already taken advantage of this deal. You should too. I wish. But if you use promo code FLOCK when you sign up for the $34 season pass, I will answer your start set questions and your trade questions for free during the season as well. Okay. Payne, welcome to being a YouTube member. I appreciate you. Okay. Baker Mayfield off the board at 96. Fuji Apple says, Mason, because of you, I have no rest. My girlfriend talks about spring break 2021 all the time. She hasn't moved on. It's obvious. What can I do? I think there's probably a support group out there that y'all can get together. Y'all can talk about it, my friend. Okay. Adil says, with the season pass, it's $34 once for the draft sheets and rankings all season. Yep. Just one-time payment, $34. Get access to the draft sheets, get access to all the rankings, get access to the My Teams page where you can link your team. You can see power rankings, the whole 9 yards. Get access to the trade calculator, the trade finder, the player comparison, the range of outcomes. Get access to everything on flockfantasy.com until January 1st. And at the same time, again, you get those free start set questions and trade question vouchers if you use code FLOCK when you sign up to flockfantasy.com. And I will say this as well. We are actually going to have it where if you have an Underdog account, you're about to be able to put in your Underdog username on your account page on flockfantasy.com and get an extra $10 free added into your Underdog account. So it'll be essentially $10 off. But that's been taking longer than I was expecting. Apparently it's a lot harder for that to happen than I previously told y'all was going to be done in the summer. And it's August and I haven't got it done for y'all yet. So hopefully soon. Okay. Keon Coleman off the board at 104. J.K. Dobbins goes. I'm not taking Trey Harris for sure. Dak Prescott does nothing for us here. I'm not a big Shaheed guy. If we take Evan Ingram, we're probably done at tight end. We'll take Evan Ingram. One thing, let me show y'all this. One thing that's really cool that we just got out on the site that we put it out a couple weeks ago. It just didn't work well because we didn't have enough players loaded in. But now the devs successfully synced every single player season since 2008 and have lined up all their ages. So with this range of outcomes tool, you can go through and you can click any player and see what the range of outcomes are potentially for the next season. So you can look at, say, like Cortland Sutton as an example. You can see Sutton at 29 years old, averaged 14.14 fantasy points per game. And then 4.76 receptions per game, 7.94 targets, all these statistics. And we screen every season since 2008 to find the closest comparables at age 29 to show you what they did at age 30. We're not taking Trey Harris. I think we're going to go ahead and take Zach Charbonnet as our running back 3. And so let me show you like how you can actually use this. So you can look at Sutton's 29 season and just go like, oh, baseline wide receivers that have a similar production profile as Sutton, do they get worse or do they stay the same at 30? And you can say like, oh, AJ Green had a similar season at 29 to 30. He actually got slightly better. Floyd got a slightly better, about the same. Michael Crabtree from 2016 to 2017 got slightly worse. Golden Tate, 2017 to 18 got slightly worse. Calvin Ridley, 2023 to 2024 got slightly worse. Doug Baldwin got slightly worse. Emmanuel Sanders got slightly worse. Robert Woods got slightly worse. So we can see like, oh, the baseline expectation should be the majority of the time, 29-year-old wide receivers get worse in their age 30 year. It's not a massive fall off that occurs, but maybe just a point or two per game. But Marker Word, always happy to have you, my guy. And let me see what we actually had with Evan Ingram this past year with the range of outcomes. Evan Ingram, you don't have a great setter, but obviously if you're looking at his age 30 season, it just was extremely weak. And the times in which the range of outcomes tool may not be the most useful is if you do have a dramatic shift in situation like Evan Ingram does from Jacksonville to Denver. Okay. Aleem says, Mason, do the draft sheets include a sheet for tight end premium leagues? I am sorry, if you're playing in a 1.5 tight end premium format, you will have to manually adjust the tight end rankings on your own. Okay. Charlemagne says, just did my first mock draft on flockfantasy.com, and man, I need the practice. We will get in another mock draft at the end of the stream if you want. So stick around and we'll get you in that mock. And also at the very end of this live stream, we are going to be doing a giveaway where somebody who's purchased the 2025 season pass, we will get you set up with a refund. All you'll have to do is type in your flockfantasy.com username in the live chat. I'll look away. I'll scroll around. We'll click on somebody randomly. And if we click on your name, I'll send that name over to the devs and say, hey, can you please refund this person their $34? Okay. David Njoku off 122. CJ Stroud 123. Miles says Keenan's going to end up like 150 ADP. Well, Trey Harris here goes at 116. I honestly wouldn't take Trey Harris here at 116. I'm already very much underweight Trey Harris. I would love to try to run a victory lap on that, but again, I'm overweight Quentin Johnson to an extreme measure. But yeah, I can't imagine taking Trey Harris there at 116. Like, give me Loveland over Trey Harris easily. Tucker Kraft goes 127. And after buying the dip on Quinshad Judkins, your boy is hoping Judkins plays this year, as embarrassing as that is to admit. Stevenson goes 128. I would have been excited to get Stevenson. Kyle Williams goes, we will take Hollywood. We'll double dip in the Chiefs wide receiver room. And we'll go, what if you get a serious Rashee Rice suspension? What if? It is true. At least I wouldn't risk Judkins in a $500 draft. That is true. Okay, Bigsby goes 131. Lawrence goes 132. So we have Stafford available to us late. We have Tua available to us late. Kincaid 133. Could reach on Tua here. Like, who else are we going to take? I guess a running back. Okay, Goddard goes, we will take Javonte Williams off the board at RB4. Let's move this over. And again, we're going to be getting in 3 flock tournaments on Underdog Fantasy tonight. So I really hope that you can opt in a flock tournament on Underdog with us. Last year, y'all absolutely crushed me in these. Hopefully I can reverse that trend. Hopefully I can put up an okay performance this season, but we will see. We will see. And we're going to be doing 9 flock fantasy tournaments on Underdog a week until the season gets here. We'll do 3 every Tuesday night, 3 every Sunday night, and 3 every Sunday, Tuesday, Friday. Friday will be the other one. Okay, Jaden Blue off the board at 143. Dylan Sampson goes 142. Cal says, I wish I was in a league where Collins goes 3rd overall. Would be nice. If that happens in the flock. God, I hope somebody in the flock league this year does something dumb. I'm really hoping somebody just straight up embarrasses themselves. Okay. Braden says, dead serious. Miles Sanders and Jaden Blue will be ahead of Javonte quickly. 100% a possibility. That's why Javonte is going off the board at in round 12, right? Like, it is anybody's backfield in Dallas, and that's why Javonte and Jaden Blue go in the same round in this draft, and the Dallas Cowboys starting running back, whoever it may be, is the cheapest starting running back in all of fantasy football drafts at this point, because nobody knows who it's going to be. Okay, Jordan Love makes it all the way down to 148. That was a crazy fall for Love. All right, let's move this down. We have a bunch of different options here. We're going to be in a good spot. Tua. Maxwell says, does the flock lead to a manual draft or online? We'll do it in person, and there'll be a vlog that you can watch everything with. We're going to take Cedric Tillman here probably, right? Tillman's pretty much a lock to be in wide receiver 2 sets for the Cleveland Browns, which maybe doesn't matter much for your regular redraft league, but for best ball drafts, that is a big deal. Okay. Ideal says, just join the flock. Appreciate you, my friend. Really hope you like it, and promise you I'll try my best to make sure it's worth it for you. We are grinding, and I will massive shout out to the devs. The devs have been working their butts off, and the site is, I'm sure if y'all know, if y'all been on the site for the past few years, this is by far and away the best it's ever been. Not even really close. And it's the cheapest it's ever been. So Cam Ward goes, we are going to go ahead and take Matthew Stafford, pair up Stafford with Puka Nacua. Obviously, Stafford's been a big time slider where a lot of people are very concerned about the back injury, and could be something that just completely derails this Rams season. Okay. Kikua says, when is the ESPN and NFL fantasy video? So the first thing that we're going to get out will be tomorrow. We are getting out the running back rankings and tiers. Then the next day, we'll probably do a ESPN draft video. And then the day after, we'll probably do a sleeper draft video. And let me know if y'all will really want those, because they definitely do a lot worse on YouTube. I was telling the lady this. I was like, us making those videos where it's tailored to a specific draft platform, it doesn't help everybody, right? Like if you're drafting on Yahoo, it may be super, super beneficial for you, but it's not super, super beneficial for somebody drafting on ESPN. So I was like, it's not valuable for everybody the way that a regular fantasy video is, but it's extra valuable for the people that it applies to. So let me know if it's worth us doing. But Maxwell says, I enjoyed the Yahoo video today, even though I don't use Yahoo. Well, yeah, let me know if y'all think we should keep it up. But Dominic says, everyone smash the subscribe button. Yes, if you have not done so already, please go down there, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. I'm going to be live streaming every single day, either drafting fantasy football teams or answering questions about your fantasy team until Christmas. Like, we go every single day without, I don't think I've missed a day of live streaming during the season since I started this in like 2020. So subscribe to the channel and hit the bell next to the subscribe button if you want to know when we go live. Okay. Sam Darnold goes 175. Let's move this down. Caesar says, is the season pass considered the same as the mother flocker? Been a mother flocker for a few years. You're the best Mason. I really appreciate you. And yeah, you're not going to get anything extra with the season pass than you would with the mother flocker membership. If you're a mother flocker, my friend, you don't need to worry about getting the season pass at all. The mother flocker membership will get you access to the site for all 12 months. We're going to take Miles Sanders and we're going to send up a prayer that Jaden Blue ends up being nothing and Javonte and Miles Sanders has everything in this backfield. But the mother flocker membership gets you access all 12 months, like 365 days a year. And it gets you a free team review every year. The season pass only gets you access until January 1st, and you don't get a free team review. The season pass is just a much cheaper option. So, like, I would say the annual mother flocker is a much better deal for like a dynasty player that's going to be very serious year round, where the season pass is a much better deal for somebody that's like, hey, by the time January gets here, I don't care about fantasy football. So Rico Dowdle off the board of 180. Dimey Brown goes 181. We're definitely going to take another receiver here. I'm going to go Michael. No. Do we take? Oh my gosh. I'm going to go Michael Wilson over Adam Thielen. I know Michael Wilson's in concussion protocol. He's been falling a tremendous amount. I don't think he's any good, but similar to Cedric Tillman, I think he's going to be in 2 wide receiver sets, which should be valuable for best ball tournaments. So we will roll with them. And now wide receiver, we have Puka Nacua, Xavier Worthy, Jalen Waddle, Khalil Shakir, Hollywood Brown, Cedric Tillman, Michael Wilson. We have the elite quarterback with Josh Allen stacked with Shakir. We have Matthew Stafford stacked with Puka Nacua. Running back, I have Derrick Henry, RJ Harvey, Zach Charbonnet, Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders. And then tight end, we have TJ Hawkinson and Evan Ingram. Do I love the team? No. Do I think it's the worst team we've ever drafted? No. We drafted a much, much worse one in the live stream last night. I'll tell you that much. Okay. Let's move this over. Rodgers goes 188. Fuji Apple says Harrison should free up DBs for Michael Wilson and McBride too. I mean, Harrison was there last year, right? I don't know if like Harrison's interaction in this offense is going to be that much different. Maybe he draws more volume. But I don't know if y'all saw this quote from Adams on Travis Hunter playing both offense and defense. So I don't think it's possible to do for real, not at a high level. That's just a lot of mileage, man. I'm not even concerned so much if he can do it over the course of a game or a season. It's more like how long in his career how long is his career going to be if he has playing that many snaps? All you're doing is doubling your risk for injury. One, and I don't wish that on him. I don't know. I can't read, dear God. I hope that he can play an injury-free season and go ball out, but it's just the reality. The more you're on the field, it's already 100% injury guarantee. Once you get out there playing both sides, now you have to tackle. You got to tackle Derrick Henry with that frame. So we'll see what happens. Raphael says, Mason, can you start doing drafts where you take players ahead of their ADP? Just took Michael Wilson out of his ADP, took Miles Sanders ahead of his ADP, took Matthew Stafford ahead of his ADP, took Hollywood ahead, and took Xavier Worthy ahead in this draft, my friend. So just did this one. Okay. Billy says Laporta a baller this year. I am excited about Laporta. Detroit Fitness Nerd says, are you in the weekly winners $10 right now? No, we are in the $10 flock tournament on Underdog. I'm not a big weekly winners fan on Underdog. I just don't really know the game well. I don't know how to play it. Boyce Waffle says, will the ESPN version of today's video be out before Friday? We're doing the running back rankings video tomorrow, which is Wednesday. Thursday, we'll either do Sleeper or ESPN. We haven't decided yet. And then Friday, we'll probably do a quarterback rankings video. And then Saturday, we'll do the other ESPN or Sleeper, whatever we hadn't done. Oh my gosh, I just got a piercing. Oh my gosh. I just got a crazy headache. My vision went blurry. That's what happens when I try to read on a live stream. Oh. I haven't used that much brain power since 3rd grade. Whew. Steve says, is it important to stack in a small tournament like this one? Yeah, because the finals are 100 people. So I'd definitely be targeting stacks if you can get them. DJ Giddens off 203. I think here we got a lot of flexibility to go running back, wide receiver, or tight end this final round. Wide receiver, we have Puka 1, Worthy 2, Waddle 3, Shakir 4, Hollywood 5, Tillman 6, Michael Wilson 7, Slayton 8. You need to be the top scoring team in this draft to advance. So I think running back and tight ends in play. Color for Life had 7 running backs. Super interesting to see them do that. Are they on auto? There goes Schultz. I think I may take Kyle Monungais, getting the positive buzz, blah, blah, blah. Do we go tight ends? We could go Jawan Johnson. I think we're going to go Jawan Johnson for the advancement. Don't know if we should have done that. But let's hop into another flock tournament on Underdog. It's Flock Community Contest 3. 2 of these have already filled. They usually fill within about a day. But again, we're doing 3 of these every single week. 3 different tournaments and 3 drafts in each tournament. Isaiah, yes, we're going to do a mock draft on flockfantasy.com tonight as well. Every single night until the season starts, we are going to be getting in a mock draft on flockfantasy.com. Steve says, could Roshan be a touchdown vulture? Looks like Kyle Monungai is actually getting a bunch of steam in Chicago ahead of Roshan Johnson, which would be something I'm a little bit concerned with, to be honest. Y'all know hook 'em horns. I like my guy Roshan. I definitely have not drafted any Kyle Monungai this year. Well, let me see where I'm at with my Bears exposure. I know Loveland's like the only Bear I'm overweight on. 12.4% Loveland, Caleb at 9.9%, 9.3% Roshan. So, yeah. Does not bode well for us seeing that Roshan news. Okay. Vinny goes Jamar Chase at 1. That's bold, Vinny. We will... we're going to take Barkley. I think Lamb has a higher floor than Barkley. I think Barkley has a higher ceiling than Lamb. Okay. Fuji Apple says, still amazed at the video submission where the guy jumps out of the plane. I am amazed as well. Master Trugger says, is there a way to know if I did the promo right? I looked at the site issue section of the Discord and I didn't see a ticket from you. Like real quick, just to make sure you send in the right spot. This is if you ever have any issues like that, send it here. In the setup section on the Discord, site issues, that's where you should be sending any issues that you ever have. I can't help you on a live stream. I'm sorry. Dominic says, how do you manage all these leagues? These are best ball drafts. So that's why I'm able to do so many of these. You don't have any time commitment during the season. So if I draft Barkley and then I also take like, say, Javonte Williams is my RB3, and randomly in the second week of the season, Barkley gets injured and gets taken out on the second drive and Javonte has 2 touchdowns, Javonte will slide into my starting lineup over Saquon Barkley. And you go extremely deep in these drafts, so you'll be drafting guys like Kyle Monangai. You'll be drafting players like Darius Slayton. So you don't have access to a waiver wire. Like if an injury happens, it doesn't really take you out of the year. And also there are no trades. So it's just drafts, plays out the season. You can track out the drafts on the app as the year goes on, but you're not spending your starting lineup. You're not making trades. That's obviously for your main regular redraft league, but you can't draft hundreds of main fantasy football teams, which is why Underdog Best Ball, in my opinion, is just so damn fun. Okay. Jonathan Taylor goes 20. Chase Brown off at 21. I'm going to go with the running back start here and take Bucky Irving over Tyreek. Higgins, Tyreek both go. Okay, Master Trog, I will look at that for you. What I'll need with your ticket is the email that you signed up to Underdog Fantasy with. We're going to go ahead. We're going to take Jackson Smith and Jigba as our first wide receiver off the board. I really don't want to fall behind a wide receiver to this extent. Vincent says, why would you not take Jamar the GOAT? I'll actually talk about that in our rankings video that comes out tomorrow. I completely understand. Every single person is ranking Jahmyr Gibbs at this point at RB1. Like, that is the biggest trend that we have right now. But it's going to be tough for me to get there. If you look at what Barkley was able to accomplish last season, and at the same time, it's not like, let's actually pull these guys up in the range of outcomes. I haven't seen their range of outcomes since the devs really improved the tool. Because the tool before this, when we just didn't have enough players, wasn't that usable. But now it's just so damn interesting to look at. So the Jahmyr Gibbs range of outcomes, the similar age 22 seasons that you've had since 2008. LaShawn McCoy, the following year, he jumped to 21 points per game. Kareem Hunt in 2017. Ray Rice in 2009. Leonard Fournette, 2017, Joe Mixon, 2018, Jordan Howard, 2016, James Robinson, 2020, Barkley, 2019. Obviously, Barkley got much worse because Barkley just got injured in 2020. James Robinson, Jordan Howard didn't have the same type of NFL draft capital that he had with Gibbs. So really the only valuable comps here, I'd say, are like Mixon, Fournette, Rice, McCoy, and Kareem Hunt. And then Barkley if he didn't get injured. Now let's look at Saquon Barkley's range of outcomes for where he was at, because he is obviously the older running back, where you'd assume maybe at 28 years old, he starts to decline. So the closest comparable 27-year-old seasons that we have to Saquon Barkley, if we're looking at points per game, rush attempts, receptions per game, rushing yards per game, and receiving yards per game, were LaShawn McCoy 2015, Derrick Henry 2021, Marshawn Lynch 2013, Adrian Peterson 2012, Chris Johnson 2012, Steven Jackson 2010, McCaffrey 2023, he got hurt in 2024. But really, if we look at this, it's not like you should expect a natural fall off given Barkley's age at this point. So I don't think Barkley's hit the true age wall that I'd be worried about with these guys like Aaron Jones, Derrick Henry, Joe Mixon. And you don't have Montgomery in his offense. Sorry, we're going to take Courtland Sutton here, wide receiver. You don't have Montgomery in his offense. You don't have any reasons to believe why the offensive line is going to be significantly worse this year than it was a year ago. The Lions scored the most points in the NFL last season. Right now, sportsbooks are projecting them to score the 6th most points in the NFL, so you should have some regression there. I'm not going to fault anybody for wanting to put Gibbs at RB1. I'm just not doing it. Okay, George Pickens goes there at 49. Let's move this over. Y'all know what wide receiver I want. We'll see if we get him. Y'all know I want Devonta Smith. Calvin Ridley goes, so we will get our guy with Smith. We're going to start this draft off with Barkley, Bucky, JSN, Cortland Sutton, as well as Devonta Smith. Overall, is it the best? No, but we're doing the best with what we can get. Okay, Taylor says, can't wait to see you snipes Vinny on Burrow. Yeah, Vinny coming through with the Chase Higgins stack. So in theory, Vinny should be getting Burrow on the way back to him, because anybody who takes Burrow is going to be taking him unstacked, and Burrow doesn't really have the rushing upside to justify that unstacked pick. But it almost happens every single draft now that Burrow will go in round 6 and won't make it back to the Chase team. But we'll see. All right. Hey, JK says, don't lie, Mason. You want the big Q. I want them, but the Chargers don't. Here's what I'm going to have to offer to the big Q. If the Chargers are willing to disrespect you this way, you can have a home with me on flockfantasy.com. Okay. Sox fan says, Chad, go join the Hat PPR and flockfantasy.com so we can start a mock. You don't need to stop watching Mason. Yeah, if y'all want, I can always go hop in those mock drafts on flockfantasy.com. I guess Sox fans waiting to have PPR one right now. Ricky Pearsall off the board at pick 67. Deebo Samuel goes 68. Maybe Burrow makes it to Vinny. I'm not taking Burrow here. Addison, I think, is still very interesting in the large field tournaments on Underdog. However, in a tournament like this, I would be a little less excited to take the 3-game suspension, just because you have to score the most points out of anybody in this 12-person draft to make it to the playoffs. So I'm going to be putting a discount on the injured guys and the suspended guys in a draft like this. Nigo says, is there a way to do a 16-team mock draft? Let's see real quick. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out who we're going to take. Do we take Montgomery or do I take Addison? We'll take Addison. But yeah, Vinny ended up getting Joe Burrow. So Vinny's sitting here with a beautiful team so far. Like, obviously, Hampton over Jacobs is rich, but if you have no Najee, he's going to crush. So let me pull this over. So you cannot join a public mock draft on flockfantasy.com that are 16 teams. I don't think Underdog has 16 team drafts either. What you can do, though, is you can do a draft simulation where you draft against bots, and you can do up to a 16 team draft there on flockfantasy.com. But all these public 2025 mock drafts on the site are just 12 team drafts. So Aaron Jones off the board at pick 80. We have a well-balanced start at this point. Barkley, Bucky at running back, JSN, Sutton, Devonta Smith, Jacoby Myers, Addison at wide receiver. This would be like an impossible wide receiver room in a regular fantasy football league to figure out who you're going to put in your starting lineup. But in best ball, these guys should cycle through and give us usable weeks. Okay. It's Larry says, been binge watching last year's Flock League. Just saw you choke against Savory. Hype for this year's content. I am more excited for this football season than I tweeted this out. And I could not mean this more than I do. Like, this is the most I've been excited for a football season in God knows how long. I tweeted out why too. I was like, Flock League draft is in like now less than 2 weeks. Flock tournaments are live on Underdog. The 2025 season pass is also going insane on flockfantasy.com. But I think the main reason why I'm like so damn excited for this year is the Flock League. Like, I am pumped, but I'm also so damn nervous as I'm putting so much into it that if I end up like having a garbage team, it could be a miserable year for me. But we'll see what happens. I think we're going to go ahead and we're not going to mess around. We're just going to get Bo Nix. I think there are a couple different players that can make it back to us that we'll be fine with. Bo Nix, we need a quarterback. Decent value here, pick 94. And at the same time, we have Cortland Sutton, so we can get the stack. Judd says, which sub got into the Flock League? If you look at the most recent video on the channel, you can see. We reviewed the best 10 auditions. And the one that won was very good. It was this video here. The 200 fans auditioned to join our fantasy league. Okay, let's see what Calcer does. Goes Ayuk. Hopefully Darnell Mooney is good to go at the beginning of the year. Right now, his status is uncertain week 1 with the shoulder injury. Darnell Mooney would be somebody I'd be very worried to take in a regular redraft league. But here in best ball, it could be viable. We've seen a couple of random spike weeks. Okay. D. Dunnett says, do you think Keenan has another 1,000-yard season with Herbert? Let me pull up Keenan as of late, because the thing that's interesting with Keenan Allen is the production was crazy last year. But he is extremely old. Like, Keenan Allen was drafted in 2013. That's like the same year as Hopkins. I don't think there are any 2013 players that are still viable. Like, Keenan Allen last season comes through 121 targets, 744 receiving yards. Over the past 3 years, like in 2023, he did get 1,000 yards out of him. So we'll see, but that'll be super interesting. There's no way that there are enough like 33-year-old wide receivers to see Keenan in the range of outcomes tool, is there? But again, the range of outcomes tool is probably not the best when you're looking at players changing teams. So 32-year-old wide receivers going into their age 33 season that were similar to Keenan Allen. Roddy White, 2013 to 2014, actually got better. Adam Thielen got better from 2022 to 2023. Emmanuel Sanders stayed the same. Ted Ginn stayed the same. Santana Moss got slightly worse. Brandon Marshall fell off a cliff. Vincent Jackson fell off a cliff. Cole Beasley fell off a cliff. But it's actually interesting to see some of these wide receivers hold on to their production from 32 to 33 years old. Makes me interested to see where Adams is at. The Adams profile does have the same thing. Some wide receivers getting better from age 32 to age 33. Like Antonio Brown got better from 2020 to 2021. Julian Edelman, slightly worse. Anquan Bolden got better. Larry Fitz, slightly worse. Roddy White got better. Andre Johnson fell off a cliff. Deshaun Jackson stayed about the same. Reggie Wayne fell off a cliff. Wes Welker fell off a cliff. Okay, Jared Goff, we don't have any Lions. We're going to go ahead. We're going to take David Njoku here. Swing this back. Tucker Kraft goes 119. I'm assuming that we're going to be able to get McCarthy at 123 to pair up with Addison. But we'll see. Taylor Watts says, I'm finding a pattern. Devonta Smith in every single draft. Mason's done. Now that I draft Devonta Smith in this one, he may flip Quentin Johnston as my second most drafted receiver. And the big Q may fall down to the third slot. So that's what we need to do at this point. We need to start taking players that are around Quentin Johnston in my exposures. That way we can artificially say, oh, Quentin Johnston wasn't even in my top 5 most drafted receivers. I don't know what y'all are talking about. Where'd y'all get that from? So now we'll take McCarthy, pair up McCarthy with Jordan Addison. So we have running back Bucky and Barkley. Quarterback Bo Nix stacked with Cortland Sutton. J.J. McCarthy stacked with Jordan Addison. Wide receiver, we have JSN, Cortland Sutton, Devonta Smith, wide receiver 3, Jacoby Myers, wide receiver 4, Jordan Addison, wide receiver 5, Darnell Mooney, wide receiver 6. And then we have David Njoku, as our first tight ends. So Richard says, Mason, any chance you can let me know what's going on with the draft? I can't, but if you open up a ticket in the Discord, one of the developers can. So again, if you ever have an issue with flockfantasy.com, whether it's the mock draft, whether it's regardless of what it is, just send a message in the Flock Fantasy Discord in the site issues, and one of the developers would be super happy to check it out for you. Okay, Hollywood Brown off 131. Bingo Bongo says, QJ ain't dead just yet. Keenan and QJ don't even play the same role. Ladd honestly might run more on the outside. That was my thought process, and that's honestly why I was thinking that I was thinking that Keenan Allen didn't make a ton of sense going to Los Angeles. Because I just view Ladd McConkey as like a much better wide receiver than Keenan Allen at this point with their roles. But obviously, what the hell do I know? They'll rearrange him. Jamie says, do you rate Dynasty teams on the live stream? Yeah, if you look up the Dynasty Flock YouTube channel, I actually just did a bunch of team reviews on flockfantasy.com. We'll do the team reviews on this live stream as well for the redraft teams as we get closer to the season. But for now, we're just kind of reviewing Dynasty teams because redraft teams, y'all haven't drafted them yet, or I'm assuming you haven't. Okay, Joshua Palmer goes 140. I know who we want. We'll see if we get him. I'll tell y'all when Dallas Goedert was my plan A. We'll go plan B, Javonte. And we can go Jaden Blue as well. We can go just please. Hopefully Miles Sanders doesn't turn into anything. Ferguson would put us in a little bit of an awkward spot just because, like, having Njoku and Ferg, I don't know if we're drafting a third tight end or not. Which isn't the worst thing, right? Just because I find ourselves in a little bit of gray area. Trey Benson goes 143. Let's see what Vinny does. He goes Jaden Blue 144. Tyler Algier 145. So like I said, we are looking at Jaden Blue potentially at 147 to just try to monopolize all the touches in Dallas. I'm not taking the big Q here. I'll tell you that much. Ferg goes. You know what I'm going to do? No, I'm not going to do that. We'll take the Cyclops. Modern medicine hopefully works wonders. Hopefully they can shoot some stem cells into that empty eye hole, and an eye is growing there right now. And that's why he's not at practice. Because slowly but surely that eye is forming. And it's going to be like Major League, where y'all know the kid breaks his arm, take the cast off. All of a sudden he's throwing 120 miles an hour. They're going to give Najee Harris a brand new eye that they just grew in a tube. And he is going to have literally the vision of a hawk. He is going to be able to see behind him 360 degrees. So if anything, him losing an eyeball should mean that he is going up draft boards rather than falling down. Now, yes, maybe I have a biology degree. Maybe I'm smarter than anybody else watching this live stream. That's why I'm here to teach. That's why I'm here to learn. I'll teach you what modern medicine's like at this point. We can run through it together. The doctors I used to shadow, they're the ones who created this new eyeball technology. So we'll take Najee at 147. You clowns are idiotic to not take this dude inside the first 2 rounds. Okay. Tua off the board at 156. I was considering Tua just for the advancement with the quarterback points, but then I realized, I was like, you know what? There are a couple quarterback stacking options that we could go really late. Travis says not major league. You mean rookie of the year? Yes, I apologize. Rookie of the year, not major league. But you get the point. I described the movie. I've seen both of them. Both are classics. But Geno Smith off at 159. Brick, I took Tillman in the last draft. I took Tillman in the last one. Don't worry. Let's see. Garindo's been a massive faller, of course. Okay. Jamie says, Mason, kiss, marry, kill. Bijan, the big Q, or your girlfriend. Okay. Let's be real here. Have you ever seen me look this happy in a picture with my girlfriend? Has my girlfriend ever looked this happy in a picture with me? Probably not. I can't think of one. I can't find one. So, I'm not going to answer it. I'll plead the fifth on that. But I think you should know where I stand. Okay. Cam Ward goes pick 166. And once we take Cam Ward, we have a bunch of stacking options with Tennessee. Like, we're kind of chilling there. Joseph is even more confident taking Bijan 101 now. You got to be confident. I've already told y'all. I'm freaking 6'6", 260 pounds. And Bijan's almost as big as me in this. What else do you need to see? They clearly mismeasured this guy at the NFL Combine. Okay. Let's see. Hunter. Oh, God dang. I wanted Henry. We'll take the tight end with a broken foot in that case. We'll go Isaiah Likely. Here's what you do. You take Isaiah Likely. You say, you know what? Maybe you don't have both your feet, but you have both your eyeballs. Can we give one to Najee Harris? Bada boom, bada bang. That Najee Harris pick of 147 looks great. Equity says, I'm not 6'6". Are you kidding me? I just showed you 2 pictures. That should clearly represent the proof. You can see my head right now. My head is the size of someone who is 6'6". I don't know what else I need to do. Balls Life says, if you two fought, my money's on Mason. Good bet. Good bet, my guy. Okay. Yeah. Judd says, stand by. That's a screensaver. That is my screensaver. It is funny. I do have just like all these random photos saved to the side, and those are 2 of the photos. Let's see what other photos I got saved. Here's a picture of me when I got the YouTube plaque with the little doggy. That one's a classic. That's back when I had hair. Actually, my hair was already going there. But God, it was long. What else we got over here? The first t-shirts we ever ordered. Looking good. I think those are all my pictures. Ooh, first flock hats we ever ordered. Got these. You're maybe thinking, oh, did you get a professional photographer to come out and take that picture? No, that was me. And I think, yeah, that's all we got. Yeah. Gustavo says, Cam Ward goes at pick 166. Mason, you are pick 166. I'm sorry. I was too busy pulling up pictures to realize that we were taking Cam Ward. Well, we got autoed Cam Ward at 166. But again, we needed a quarterback regardless. I'm not going to sweat it. So we get 3 picks left. We're going to take one more running back, one more wide receiver. Actually, we get, 3 picks left and one more tight end. Will Shipley goes 187. Cornbread says, finna get me a hat. Though we are out of all those hats. Those hats are long gone. We got new hats though, which just, if you're a member of flockfantasy.com, look out for the recent post page. We'll post a Google form there. Just say like, hey, give me your address, ship you a hat. Or if you go to the meetup, we're going to be passing out a bunch of hats. We'll take Wan'Dale Robinson, just get the cheap targets in our last wide receiver, and then we're only running back and tight end. And obviously, if you're not already planning on going to the meetup, here are the details. It's not this Sunday, but next Sunday in Austin, Texas. You can see everything on the screen right there. Pause it. Everybody in the Flock League will be there, and I really hope you are as well. Okay. Darius Slayton goes 191. A-Rod says you're going to drop Ladd in your rankings. I moved Ladd. Okay, Chig goes, which would have been our Cam Ward stack. But ultimately, in the Flock tournaments, I don't think stacking's that important. As long as you have a couple of them. So we're instead going to go ahead and we're going to take maybe DJ Giddens. Let me think. Yeah, we'll take DJ Giddens. And we're going to queue up a bunch of tight ends and bounce to the next draft. You'll know I like me some Terrence Ferg. Actually, we probably need some of the vet tight ends, the boring options, because we have the likely foot injury. And then we'll go with our guy, Terrence Ferg. And then maybe we mix in like a Noah Fant. That'd be fun. And then we'll just queue up a bunch of these random players to make sure that we get somebody. But let me go ahead, hop into another Underdog Flock Tournament drafts. So let's move this over. Again, Flock Community Contest 3. Really hope you can draft with us on Underdog in these. And I just juked a hell of a lot of y'all out. So I apologize for that. I don't have to enter this on my phone. I am very, very sorry. And dear God. So Vinny, I'm pretty sure we juked you out, and I'm very sorry for that. But if anybody other than Vinny wanted to get in this with us, we are in right now. 5 spots open. Let me pull this up on the screen. Flock Community Contest 3. Pull this up. And we are here at the 7th slot. I am not a fan of the 7th slot. Ethan says, how did you decide to partner with the other Flock creators? Would you add more to the site? If we added more to the site, we'd be very selective about how we do it. I think because we're just constantly investing into the site, right? So like what the site is set up and where I'll say like flockfantasy.com is the best website, like having a membership here, it's the best product that you can have. Not for best ball. There are better sites for best ball, not for DFS. There are better sites for DFS. We have no sports betting advice or anything like that. I would say sports betting advice, whatever, but it's not us. Where we're very, very good is Redraft and Dynasty. And I think those other creators that are on the site were very, very good at both Redraft and Dynasty. And that's why I asked them to come on. But as we continuously invest into more tools and more things with flockfantasy.com, I think we maybe bring on a best ball person next year. So Cole says, by far the best Dynasty site I found. Yeah, like I'm very confident in saying like for your regular like ESPN League, Sleeper League, Yahoo League, that's a redraft league, or for your Dynasty League, flockfantasy.com is by far and away the best site. And at the same time, it's probably the cheapest. The hope is I think DFS in terms of like DraftKings, FanDuel, crap like that. Jahmyr Gibbs is an absolute dream to get here at pick 7. It used to happen more often, but now that you've had a lot of people saying that Jahmyr Gibbs, the RB1, it's tougher to get him at this point. But like, I don't think we're like anytime soon going to be able to do like the DraftKings, FanDuel, blah, blah, blah. Cause that's so out of my wheelhouse that I wouldn't feel comfortable trying to like compete there essentially. But I know what the hell I'm doing in best ball drafts. And I know who else knows what they're doing in best ball drafts. So I think once like the next offseason gets here and we've done enough where like we do have a bunch of cool redraft and dynasty stuff on the site. And I mean, y'all are going to be amazed with what comes out by the time we get to September. That like next offseason we can invest a bunch into like the best ball stuff. Where right now, like, being a member on flockfantasy.com probably is not going to help you much with your underdog drafts. Like if you're looking at like player takes where you want to use the player comparison, where you want to use the range of outcome stuff, that can probably help. But it's definitely a lot more geared to redraft. Derrick Henry goes pick 16. So we start with Jahmyr Gibbs. So we're likely to take a receiver here, and we'll take Drake London. I think the combo of Jahmyr Gibbs, Drake London teams are going to be very, very thin in this tournament. Break says I'd be doing backflips if I got Gibbs at 7. Yeah, like we used to get a ton of Jahmyr Gibbs at pick 7. It was a common thing for people to be like worried about Gibbs early in the offseason. Okay. So Jonathan Taylor off the board at 21. Chase Brown goes 22. Trying to figure out, like, I guess it is very weird to see that team right ahead of us go with Ladd McConkey. Like, Ladd was already going behind London and A.J. Brown pre-Keenan Allen signing. And post-Keenan Allen signing, it does seem very thin to try to make that pick. Cornbread says, I've done like close to 20 drafts and haven't gotten the 12 spot once. Unbelievable. Mathematically speaking, that's very much believable. Josh Jacobs goes at pick 24. Like you do 20 drafts, the probability that there's a spot you haven't drafted from is pretty damn high. Okay, Lamar Jackson goes pick 27. Lou says Allen is at best wide receiver 3 on the Chargers. Hopefully. Hopefully it goes the big Q1, Ladd McConkey. Actually, based off my exposures, hopefully it goes the big Q1, Keenan Allen 2, Ladd McConkey 3, Trey Harris 4. Amari Hampton off the board. I will probably go ahead and take Jackson Smith and Jigba at pick 31. Bulldog says, first thing they did was deliver a treadmill to Keenan's house. Send him the Stairmaster. Get him on. Get those legs churning. All right. Garrett Wilson off the board to pick 33. Kyron Williams goes 32. And used to be able to get Kyron at a strong value. Like we have a bunch of underdog drafts where I was able to get Kyron Williams in round 4. AK Cash asking if we watch Hard Knocks. Yes, I will be watching Hard Knocks. I actually even watched the... So one thing that I need to get better about is I watch YouTube 24/7. Like from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed, I pretty much got a YouTube video going. And I need to be mixing in some more like high quality, like Hard Knocks type stuff. So I actually, when I was working on the draft guides last week or whenever I threw on Quarterback, like the Netflix show. And if it takes, like, it took me like maybe 6 hours to update all the draft sheets, which usually I would just be watching like on the second monitor YouTube videos for 6 hours. But throwing on Quarterback, we're going to take Terry here. Throwing on Quarterback, I was like, 6 hours went by pretty fast. And I just watched this random series, you know. So we'll probably do the same thing with Hard Knocks, where I'll just throw it on the second monitor as I work. Kanye says, what would be better, Nico and Bucky or CMC London? I'd probably rather have CMC London for me. Zach says, any diet tips? I know you're shredded. 1, I'm not shredded at all. 2, my diet is unbelievably bad. What I ate today was 4 breakfast tacos from, I'm not going to say the name of the place because it's right next to where I live. 4 breakfast tacos, bacon, egg, and cheese. Then I ate, I don't even know how to describe it. Have you all heard of like Ike's Love sandwiches or something? Like 2 massive, like really good sandwiches with just a bunch of crap on them. Ate like 2 12-inch sandwiches essentially. Where are we at? We're going to take Kenneth Walker. I know Kenneth Walker's banged up. I know some people would take Travis Hunter here, but we'll just take the running back value at 55. Brick says Ike's is goated if it's the one I was thinking of. It was so good. It was amazing today. Highly recommend. It was like the buy, because I always do the Uber Eats gift like deals, and then I just pick them up so you don't have to pay any fees. And it was like buy one, get one free sandwiches. So I got like 2 massive sandwiches. I'm in shape because I average over like 10 miles a day running. But if it wasn't for like how much I worked out, I would be in way worse shape. But I probably have one of the worst diets imaginable. Balls Life says Walker returned to practice today. Good for us. Good for us. Jonathan says, I can't poop, shower, gym, drive without YouTube playing in the back. That's exactly how I am. Gym, I can do because gym, I listen to music. But everything else, like if I'm driving, what my girlfriend hates is that I shower. Whenever I shower, I have to have YouTube going. Whenever I eat. Oh, one thing I've been doing that's better as well is instead of doing YouTube as I eat, because the thing is you run out of good stuff on YouTube. And then I just end up watching stuff that I'm like, I hate this. But when you eat lunch, throw on Impractical Jokers. It's the perfect tradition, perfect daily ritual. It's perfect. Okay, Romadunze goes pick 64. Jawan Jennings, 65. Like, Olave is kind of the last wide receiver in this tier now that you have the Addison suspension, especially in this kind of tournament. Artem says, I'd play your vids last season in the shower. It's just, I don't know what. Like, I have YouTube Premium as well, so I can close out the app and have the audio still going, you know? And the majority of stuff, like, I watch on listen. I mean, I quote unquote watch on YouTube. It's really just the audio that matters to me with stuff, the type I watch. Joe says, do you watch non-football YouTube? Yeah, I don't watch much football YouTube, to be honest. Dimple TV says, my go-to is always The Office. The Office is, for what it is the probably second best show of all time behind Breaking Bad. Spicy Hot says, I hate when someone talks to me when I eat. That's how my brother lives with me, and he's lived with me for like 5 years. And I'll be like eating lunch, and he'll come in and try to be nice and talk to me. And I'm like sitting there and watching a video, eating, and I'm just trying to be nice, talking back. And I'm like, just leave me alone. I'm in my iPad kid mode. Okay, so right now we have a very well-balanced team. We have Gibbs, Kenneth Walker, running back. Wide receiver, we have London, JSN, Terry, and Olave. Okay. Bingo Bongo, Davis did reach out to me to hop on his stream. I went on multiple times this year. I said I wasn't going to be able to do tomorrow, and I also have to be live streaming earlier tomorrow than I am tonight. I joined a volleyball league with Sal, and we are going to have our first volleyball game or match, whatever you want to call it, at 8:30 tomorrow. So I got to get all my work done like early in the day and live stream early in the day for that. Okay, let's move this down. I'm not going to take Mixon. I'll probably take Pollard here. Yeah, I think we have enough at wide receiver with London, JSN, Terry, Olave. We're not having to panic and take a wide receiver here at 79 like Josh Downs. Maybe if it was looking likely that Daniel Jones was starting quarterback, I'd run it, but we'll take Pollard instead. Vinny says, makes sense. Mason will be on a volleyball team. Best blocker out there. Hashtag 6'4". All jokes aside, I'm garbage at volleyball. I'm about to embarrass myself. I did love Scrubs when I watched it. I had a big Scrubs fan. Gangrene says that 70 show is the best in the background. So the shows that I have watched the most throughout my entire life are The Office and That 70 Show. That 70 Show when I was in middle school was my favorite show literally ever. I watched it through like 4 times, and there were 200 episodes. However, I can't watch anything with a laugh track anymore. Like if I try to I tried watching That 70 Show recently and it didn't hold up. Like I couldn't watch it. The laugh track just completely takes me out of it. Okay. Khalil Shakir off the board at pick 87. Cup goes 88. I don't want to say it until... Okay, we're going to take Mixon if he falls. Mixon sometimes falling to like pick 100. But once you're at the point where it's like Jordan Mason, Jalen Warren, these potential just straight up backup running backs, of course there's a chance that Joe Mixon doesn't play this year. But at the same time, this is a $10 buy-in with $10,000 to first place. I'm shooting for the ceiling. So we will take Mixon. Teresa says, I agree. Laugh track is annoying. I didn't like, and everything I grew up with had a laugh track. Like I grew up watching like all the Nickelodeon shows like iCarly and stuff like that. And like, it was just standard to have a laugh track. And then I loved It's Always Sunny. I mean, sorry, not It's Always Sunny. I love That 70 Show. I also loved It's Always Sunny. But it's just something that like, once you leave the laugh track, you cannot go back. Trey says, can I get a team review for Dynasty? Yeah, if you are an annual mother flocker on flockfantasy.com with code FLOCK, you should be able to submit a team review for me for free on the site. Or you can always purchase one. But I would definitely just get the annual membership because it's going to be a much better deal. Okay, Kyler Murray goes at pick 100. And I probably don't want to take a running back here with all else being equal. Quarterback options. are very slim with our potential stacks. So we're just going to go ahead. We will take Justin Fields unstacked and shoot for the rushing upside. Jason asking if we're doing another draft. Yes, this was our third Flock community contest draft that we've done on Underdog here. So I'm probably not going to be able to do any more of these on Underdog until the Flock community contest 4, which will be on Friday. But I will be hopping into a mock draft on flockfantasy.com after this. Jay Conway says, can stack Fields with Lazard. Because in week 15 and week 16 in this tournament, you only go up against one person. I think stacking's not going to be nearly as important in the Flock tournaments as it will be in like Best Ball Mania or a puppy draft. Okay. Let's move this down. We have McCarthy 109, Brandon Ayuk 110. Master Trug says, what would Jaden Daniels have to do to be QB1 in fantasy? Like, you're saying in my rankings or just in total fantasy points? So 1, you'd probably need Terry to stay in Washington, and 2, you'd probably need the rushing touchdowns to go up. Looking at the options here, y'all are going to hate me for it, but we're going to take another unstacked quarterback. Actually, let's think about this. No, Loveland used to be able to make it to you at the end of round 11. That doesn't really happen anymore, so we'll take an unstacked Dak Prescott. Lou says Josh Allen, Lamar get hurt. No, I mean, Daniels can be the straight-up QB1 over those guys. It's in the range of outcomes. Like, look at this. So let me pull up sites, pull this up. So let's look at a couple different things. One, let's pull up Lamar and Josh Allen over the past few years to get a baseline of what their type of production's like. So we can see Lamar and Josh Allen from the past 3 seasons. You've seen Lamar average 22.2 points per game, Josh Allen 23.4. If we look at Jaden Daniels as a rookie, yeah, Jaden Daniels wasn't up there at those elite marks, but obviously he's a rookie. He was going to start slow. If we look at the second half of Jaden Daniels' season, Jaden Daniels was at 23.7 points per game, higher than Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson over the past 3 years. Now, I definitely take Lamar and Josh Allen over Daniels because this is a very small sample where Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson have done it for a very long time. But, like, it's possible that Jaden Daniels straight up outscores Allen and Lamar. The passing volume was way higher for Jaden Daniels than it typically is for these guys. But obviously Lamar's crushing on rushing, and you didn't really have many rushing touchdowns for Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels only had 0.25 points. Rushing TDs per game during that time period. So Jaden Daniels can outscore him, but if he's going to, you probably need better, higher rushing touchdown numbers in a 4-point passing touchdown league. Josh says, is there a 50% match using code FLOCK on Underdog? Please and thank you. Yes, there is a 50% deposit match if you use promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy, and it is your first deposit. Has to be your first deposit, though. Tucker Craft off the board. What the hell am I supposed to do? We're going to make y'all hate me even more. We're just going to lock in the quarterback points in a tournament where you have to be the number 1 scoring team in your 12-team draft. You only go up against one person in week 15, only one person in week 16. Sorry, 15 and 16. You know what I mean? Okay. CJ Stroud goes 129. We're hoping that now a bunch of quarterbacks go. Obviously, I can't guarantee that will happen, but we're hoping. Let's move this down. Josh says, thank you. Much appreciated. Going to drop 1K. That is what sucks. Like, I wish that you could do first a $20 deposit, and then if you really like it, then deposit like $1,000 for the 50% deposit bonus. But you do have to just kind of give it. You just kind of have to give the benefit of the doubt and deposit the $1,000 if you want like the $500 bonus immediately. Jake Ferguson was going to be our pick here in the 12th. That was our plan A, of course, with having Dak Prescott. But once he goes, we are going to have to pivot. Dallas Goedert's the best player here. And honestly, F it, we're going to take him. I'm not going to take one of these receivers. But let me move this over. And Raphael says, Mason, can you compare Jaden Reed and Marvin Mims? Yes, sir. Jaden Reed and Marvin Mims are both in the same draft class. Jaden Reed and Marvin Mims both were day 2 NFL draft picks. Jaden Reed and Marvin Mims both got worse from their rookie seasons to their second years. If you look at 2024 for these two players, you have Jaden Reed 11.6 points per game, Marvin Mims at 7.6. Marvin Mims 2.7 yards per route run, which was 13th in the league. Jaden Reed 10.88 yards per target, which was 4th in the NFL. Marvin Mims averaged 10 routes per game. Jaden Reed was at 21. Like, Jaden Reed was definitely much better than Marvin Mims this past year. If you look at their rookie seasons, both of them were better as rookies than they were year 1 players. Like, if we look at Marvin Mims as a rookie, I guess the PPR points were down, but he ran more routes, which is encouraging. At least he played more. If we look at their 2 seasons combined, you'll see Marvin Mims has averaged 33% of the snaps in the Denver Broncos offense through his NFL career. Jaden Reed's at 60%. Okay, Hunter Henry goes 149. Hopefully we have a wide receiver. Najee goes, we will take Hollywood Brown at 151. Nick Chubb goes 152. Y'all know Nick Chubb's top 5 player for me in dollars spent on Underdog. Frank says Keenan Allen's live streaming Call of Duty on Twitch right now. Let me pull this up. How many views does like an NFL player get when they're live streaming something? I never go on Twitch, by the way. I don't know if y'all do. Is this Keenan Allen? Let me see. Yeah, and just everybody in the chat's talking about him signing with the Chargers. It is funny, like, you're Keenan Allen, you're playing Call of Duty, like nobody's really paying attention to what you're doing. They're all talking about something else. It's kind of the same experience that I have here, right? We go through draft fantasy football teams. Nobody really talks about that. They just talk about how good looking I am, how funny I am, how tall, muscular, all 9 yards. Very similar experience. God dang, I can't. The reason I can never watch Twitch is I go on Twitch and there are just 1,000 ads. Okay, Zach Ertz goes 159. Jerome Ford goes 160. And again, we are not taking any wide receivers. I'm sorry, we're not taking any more quarterbacks. Running back, you got Garindo, Algier. Tight end, you got Likely. Wide receiver, Jalen McMillan's the best play. I guess we will take our last running back here. We will take Tyler Algier as our 5th RB. Fuji Apple says the ads on Twitch are so crazy. Yeah, I'm sure, like... And also what I don't get about, like... So, Twitch asked me to, like, live stream on there. This was, like, a year or 2 ago. Maybe last year. I don't know. But Twitch asked me, they're like, will you live stream on here? Like, 20 hours a month or something. And I tried asking them, like, okay, well, why would I ever live stream there instead of YouTube? Like, these turn into videos on YouTube after and get me views. Like, you stream on Twitch and it just goes like, it just goes away where nobody can watch it after you're done. I know there's a VOD, but I don't think anybody ever goes and looks at them. It's like, why would somebody, like, can somebody please explain to me this in the live chat? Because they couldn't explain it to me. Like the rep that was trying to get me to like do a Twitch deal there couldn't tell me like why I would do it. But they were just saying like they were trying to be like politically correct on, like they couldn't say anything like how they are better than YouTube. Like all I can say is that we were built for live streaming. It's like, okay, well that doesn't tell me anything. So people are saying multi-stream. Spicy Odd says it's definitely not fitting for this type of content. Beach says more likely to get found. Yeah, I'm sure, obviously there are people that are way more successful than me, make an ungodly amount of money that I couldn't fathom streaming on Twitch. We're going to take the one-footed tight end again with Isaiah Likely. But I just, maybe it's because I don't watch the streams on Twitch, so I just have no sense of anything. But okay, James says a lot of people make shorts out of clips and multi-stream. Maybe I should multi-stream, figure out how to do that, but I don't know. I feel like I like what we're doing. Fuji says Ludwig and XQC wish they could be Mason. I reached out to Ludwig said, please join the Flock League, sir. Please. Please. Of course, Hail Mary didn't get a response, but it would have been cool. Would have been cool. Okay. Woody Marks goes 181. Chig goes 182. Let's move this over. Keenan off 185. Maybe we should have taken Keenan instead of Likely. But we're just going to take Pat Bryant. We're just going to go wide receiver, tight end, wide receiver, tight end till this wraps up. I mean, I guess we're only needing one more tight end to pair up with Goddard and Likely. And then we are going to take two more receivers. Quarterback, we have Fields, Dak, Love. Running back, we have Gibbs, Walker, Pollard, Mixon, Algier. Wide receiver, we have London, JSN, Terry, Olave, Hollywood, Pat Bryant. Tight end, we have Dallas Goedert and Isaiah Likely. We have no stacks. Not ideal. If it was Best Ball Mania, we'd be absolutely cooked. In a Flock League tournament, the stacks aren't going to be nearly as important, but still, I would rather have them than not. Okay. Vinny says, Mason, I still keep pounding from you in this draft. Feels kind of bad. Last year, we went heavy on the keep pounding. But let's see what my exposures are like right now. I know I had a lot of Chuba when he was going into the fifth. Like, whenever I made that video with our top 5 exposures, Chuba was there. But Chuba's fallen down actually to be around 8% of my exposures. My highest rostered Panther at this point is Xavier Legette. Both from an entry fees perspective and a percentage of draft perspective is Legette. Matt says, Twitch interface is better for live streams. Gifting subs and paid subscriptions seem more common over there. If you stream there, you'd have to download your VOD and upload it on YouTube. Yeah, I'd rather just do it here. Spicy Yacht says, I could see your game day Q&A streams working on Twitch given the content can't be rewatched. Yeah, that is a good point. Okay. Yeah, maybe answering fantasy football questions on Twitch could be the move. And not just doing it on Twitch, just live streaming on both. But I could see how that could be beneficial. Calvin Austin goes, you know what? We'll actually get a Justin Fields stack with Mason Taylor here. So we just need a week 17 Justin Fields, Mason Taylor blow up. That's what we're looking for. And then we're going to queue up a wide receiver here to end this draft. Kind of want some of these boring veteran names coming in. Maybe we go way down here, grab a Jalen Tolbert to pair up with Dak Prescott. And then we'll just queue up the rest of the wide receivers and make sure that we get at least one if y'all try sniping me. And let's go ahead and let's bounce into a mock draft on flockfantasy.com. Let's move this over. Again, these are not nearly as fun as underdog drafts. There's no real money attached to them, but they can be used to help you prep for your main redraft league. And there are public lobbies that you can always draft in. Just go here, PPR, non-PPR, half PPR. You can do a draft simulation where you just go ahead and draft against bots right there. Whatever you're wanting, I'm going to be opting in the 2025 PPR mock draft lobby. So let's get in, and I'm going to be picking at 12. I don't think we've picked at 12 before in one of these. Okay. So we're in. Draft starting at 8. Spicy God, I've done a TikTok Q&A before where I just kind of like set up my phone and I just do it on YouTube, but like am live on TikTok. Maybe we do it again, but I kind of like having my phone handy during the streams. Okay. Derek says, how much is Rome going to go up the rankings after the Keenan Allen trade? Keenan Allen didn't get traded. He just signed with the Chargers. Like, Keenan Allen was not going to be a Chicago Bear this next year. So they drafted Luther Burden and Loveland. One of the many reasons. So, yeah, has no impact on Rome. It's already priced in on Rome. So Nico Collins off the board at the 109. A-Chan off. Like, this is realistically, like, if I could start the Flock League and just double tap, like, sorting by my rankings, I have Ginty right ahead of Brian Thomas, which will run it that way. Expert ranks have Brian Thomas ahead of Ginty. But if you can just double tap two of these players here, pick 12 and 13, you start off so strong, such a well-balanced start that it's almost impossible to mess it up later. And we got Spicy Ott in this draft with us at the 11th spot. Nathan says, are you worried much about regression for Barkley? I think, yeah, you have to be worried somewhat, but realistically, if we thought there's a 0% chance Barkley regressed, then we would go ahead and we'd rank Barkley at the 101, which I'm not doing that. I'm ranking Barkley as our second running back off the board, so we're still in on Barkley. I think he's probably not going to be as strong of an option, but still pretty strong. Okay, AJ Brown, Chase Brown go. Again, the issue that we've had in these drafts as of late is us deciding to take Brock Bowers in round 2 and it just derailing our draft almost every single time. So, like, not having Bowers on our team, I do think we're going to have a little more of a fun time with this, where I'm not feeling we're just screwed halfway through. Okay. JV says, hearing great things about Keaton Mitchell from Ravens camp. If Henry gets hurt or falls off, he could be back. Do you want to take a guess on how many games Keaton Mitchell's had in his NFL career with 10 or more carries? Hint, it's 0. I'm completely fine with you saying he could be a thing, but it wouldn't be him being back. It would be him being a thing for the first time ever. Fuji Apple says, so I can derail my draft instead. That is true. I like seeing that y'all's Flock Fantasy usernames are a lot closer to y'all's usernames in the chat. So like, I saw that you had taken Bowers. And I was like, oh, that's Fuji Apples. Cade says he loves Bowers in the second round in his ESPN league, though. And 100% I would. And that's why in my rankings on the site, because whenever I draft on my rankings on the site, I have Bowers ranked there. Because I know a lot of people are going to be using the rankings on the site for their ESPN Yahoo sleeper drafts, where you can get great wide receiver values in the middle of the late rounds. So you can afford that Brock Bowers selection. The issue is these mock drafts of y'all on the site are extremely difficult. That wide receiver value is much tougher to come by. So it's a lot tougher to be able to afford that Brock Bowers pick. JV says, I hear you, but Mitchell went crazy before the injury, unless I don't remember correctly. He had a couple long runs. That's what it was. Matthew Berry wrote up hey, he's an interesting waiver wire pickup. And then the next 2 games, he had 80 rushing yards off of 8 carries. And everybody went oh, it's happening. It's happening. And then he got injured. Okay. Tyreek Hill goes to the 307. Harrison 308. Wilson 310. Kittle goes. So my highest ranked player is Devontae Adams. Expert highest ranked is Devontae Adams as well. I have it as Adams, Jaden Daniels, and honestly, I think we're going to probably stand by it. So what else would we do? The second highest ranked player in the expert rankings is going to be Alvin Kamara. Second highest ranked player in my rankings would be Jalen Hurts. We don't take the elite tight end, so I think we can get away with the elite quarterback. Let's take Jaden Daniels at the 401. We know there's no shot that we're going to get Jalen Hurts on the way back around, so that doesn't really need to be a concern of ours. So we'll just take Daniels. Everett says, why Mike Evans over DK/DK so low? DK Metcalf's been finished better than a low-end wide receiver 2 one time in his NFL career. From a points per game perspective. Let's pull this up. Here's Metcalf his entire career. And he's right now the Steelers project to be the 7th worst offense in the NFL. And Metcalf's been on better teams than the 7th worst offense in the NFL over the past few seasons. So if you just look at his career logs, yeah, maybe he's had finish at wide receiver 7, wide receiver 14, wide receiver 16, which says he plays 17 games. You look at what he's given you from a week-to-week perspective. Wide receiver 20, wide receiver 8, 21, 22, 20, 33. You've had 4 low-end wide receiver 2 finishes, 1 mid to low-end wide receiver 1 finish, and then a low-end wide receiver 3 finish. So I know Metcalf is built like I am, and that gets a lot of people excited for a fantasy perspective, but the reality is the production is just not there. He doesn't draw a ton of targets. And he's played with different quarterbacks as well. The past 2 years, he's at a 22.9% and 21.3% team target share. Raptor says, which site has the most accurate ADPs? So I actually posted on flockfantasy.com the consensus ADP list, and you can actually go check this out for yourself. So, and this is free on flockfantasy.com. Our draft sheets with all our rankings and all the platforms and the adjustments and stuff. These are the 50 draft sheets. This is behind a paywall. This is free, the 2025 consensus ADP. If you pull this up, you can see the Yahoo Sleeper, ESPN Underdog ADP and average it all out. So I'd say probably the most accurate. It's going to be this consensus ADP that you can use. But if I'm looking at what's closest to the consensus ADP out of Yahoo, Sleeper, and ESPN, what's surprising, and I feel like this didn't used to be the case, is ESPN has probably the best ADP out of Sleeper and Yahoo. I think Sleeper has the worst ADP, like, which is crazy to say. But just going through and doing all this tracking, and I know a lot of people say that, like, oh, Sleeper's the best app, and I'm not going to say it's not. But from an ADP perspective, their ADP is the most off. Like, I have no idea what the hell they're doing with it. So I would say, like, ESPN, Yahoo, Sleeper, the ADP that's going to be the toughest to abuse will be the ESPN ADP probably. Raptor says, are you worried about Ladd and Trey Harris now that Keenan's back? Oh, definitely. I mean, I've moved all the Chargers receivers down our rankings. I didn't move Ladd McConkey down our wide receiver rankings. He stays in the same spot there. Like, I'm not going to take Tyreek, Higgins, or JSN over him, but I moved him behind, like, the elite level quarterbacks, and I moved him from, like, a mid-round 2 pick to pick at the 2-3 turn. Caleb Johnson goes 5'11". I definitely want to take him. Caleb. My 2 highest are RJ Harvey and Calvin Ridley. 2 highest on the expert rankings are Olave and Zay Flowers, but I'm going to ignore those. I'm going to take my guys with Harvey, Ridley, stay balanced. We get our 3rd wide receiver or a 2nd running back here. I definitely would like to target a running back later in this draft that we can get some production from at the beginning of the year. Where obviously Harvey, you're looking more so at the end of the season. Antler Eyes, happy to see us, says, hey, cheers, bud. Great flock video. However, if it makes you feel any better, I absolutely tried my best to get you in. And I don't know if you've seen the feedback, but the feedback is you had the best clip. That's what most people have said. So I appreciate you getting it in, my guy. You're the only 10 I gave. I begged and pleaded, but Angel Reese needed to hear her name said. So sadly, it didn't work out, but next year's the year, my guy. Next year is the year. But Saquad says, ESPN's always been extremely good with ADP. Maybe it has, but last year I remember it being bad. Risky says, why is Chase Brown's consensus ADP close to mid-3rd when he's getting drafted in the mid-2nd? So, like, on flogfantasy.com, I would say generally these are going to be a lot tougher drafts because anybody who's drafting on flogfantasy.com is is actively doing research, right? And are generally on top of things. But so, like, maybe Chase Brown goes in the 2nd round in these drafts, but in all the consensus ADP across all the sites, he goes in the 3rd. Like, I think the Yahoo draft I did for the video today, Chase Brown went in the 3rd. Okay. Let's see. Sam Laporta off after TJ Hawk. Interesting. Mixon goes 701. Godwin goes 702. I like our team. Again, like I said, I think we're going to need a running back that gives us production at the beginning of the year, but I think we're going to be fine with it. And we did recently move Brian Robinson down our rankings, getting the rookie hype in Washington. Brian Robinson has been ineffective for fantasy purposes over the past 2 years. It is a good backfield, though. Samuel says, when is the How to Win a Sleeper video coming out? It's either going to come out on Thursday or on Saturday. Jerry Judy goes 706. So there are a bunch of wide receivers that we can choose from. Running backs may be a little bit more scarce. This is sorted by my ranks, sorted by the expert average. The top 3 guys would be receivers with Jaden Reed, Jawan Jennings, and Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel goes off 709. Let's pull back up my rankings. Jawan Jennings goes 710. Tony Pollard goes. Tony Pollard was the highest scored in my ranks. Now the 2 highest guys are going to be Jacoby Myers and Matthew Golden. I think we can double tap the wide receiver position here. I mean, we do have 2 running backs. It's not like we're completely screwed at the position. We have Ginty and RJ Harvey. Y'all know the expert average had Brian Thomas ahead of Ashton Ginty. We decided to go with Ginty instead based off our ranks. And honestly, I'm very happy that we did that. So we gave ourselves the flexibility to be able to take the value here with like Jacoby Myers and Matthew Golden, where I think that they are the best players available. Okay, Jaden Reed goes to 803. Bo Nix goes 804. Good for us to see the quarterbacks go. Like, again, I may end up taking another QB. We'll see how this plays out. But we wouldn't do so until like either the last round or the second to last round. And it would have to be somebody that we think that we could end up trading at a profit, depending on how the season plays out. Everett says, is there a way to sync the rankings with your ESPN draft so when the players get picked, they get removed from the ranks? No, hopefully we'll have that next year. The best thing that you can do is if you got the season pass on the site, go to that draft sheet post, the 2025 vlog draft sheets. If you're in ESPN league, we have 12 different sheets. Just make sure you go to the one that's your exact league settings. Go to that sheet, like page 3. Copy and paste this, put it into a different sheet, and then as players get picked, go through and delete their rows, like how I did in the Yahoo draft video. Because that also combines the ADP for ESPN, if that's where you're drafting on. JV says 2 rookie running backs. Yep, the rookie running back class this year is arguably the strongest rookie running back class that we have seen since 2017. Like, I am generally going to be overweight the rookie running backs and underweight the older veteran dusty RBs this season. Mr. C says, what's the logic behind stacking games late in the season? So it doesn't matter at all in your regular redraft league. It'd be something that you'd never consider. In a lot of underdog drafts, you would never consider it either. Certain underdog tournaments, however, if all the money's up top in week 16, week 17, and there's a large field contest, some people like attacking certain game environments. That way, in case the game turns out to be super high scoring, you hopefully have a couple of those players and you can set yourself apart from the rest of the field. Okay, but again, that's only for like really large field best ball contests that have large fields in week 16, 17. So Alexander says, Mason, is there a reason you're fading Caleb Johnson? He's got bell cow written all over him, regardless of whether he's good or not. I agree that I think in terms of the first and second down workload, you could just see everything going to Caleb Johnson, but I would be a little bit concerned about the receiving usage. And if he's not going to be a great receiving back, and we're projecting the Steelers to be a bottom 10 offense in the NFL, or at least that's what sportsbooks are currently doing, like I'd much prefer grabbing RJ Harvey, who's going to be in a much better offense and potentially has a path to catch balls out of the backfield. Evan Ingram goes 909. So tight end's definitely in play for us, right? Tyler Warren goes. So I think the perfect kind of pick here for a team where we're sitting with 2 rookie running backs would be Jaylen Warren. So we can have some of that production early in the year if we can't start RJ Harvey, if Dobbins' role is too large. And then I'm going to take Loveland. I have the quarterbacks and Darnell Mooney right ahead of him in my ranks. But we already have Amon-Ra, Devontae Adams, Calvin Ridley, Jacoby Myers, Matthew Golden at wide receiver. And we already have Jaden Daniels at quarterback. So wide receiver, quarterback, not going to be a super big priority for me at this point. I think getting Loveland here at the 10:01 makes a lot of sense. Okay. Jimmy says Iowa doesn't throw the ball. Who knows if he's good at pass protection? Yeah, at the same time, I mean, if they didn't throw the ball at all in college, he probably doesn't have the reps of it, right? Which it could just take him a little bit of time to get going. And for that reason, I think Jaylen Warren, they already came out and said, like, hey, Caleb Johnson may not start for us week 1, but he's going to be good this year. Don't worry. Like, they're already prepping you to know that Caleb Johnson's not the starting running back in Pittsburgh early on. Now, that may change as the year goes on, but I would be looking at Caleb at like the 6-7 turn, not round 5. Okay. Benson goes to the 10:07. Javonte goes 10:08. Rashad White 10:09. So we have a big run on these like RB3, RB4 profiles. Falcon says Josh Downs draft position on ESPN's 148. Yeah, that's probably the worst ADP on ESPN. Maybe one of the worst ADPs on any of the platforms. But again, that's why, like, if I have Josh Downs ranked as like an 8th round pick on the draft sheets, I don't have you taking him in round 8. I'm like, hey, look at this dude in round 10. Samuel, the running back rankings tier list is going to come out tomorrow. Kyle Williams goes to the 11:01. I'm just not really drafting Kyle Williams this year. Kyle Williams beats me. He beats me. Lou says, can you show a picture of the team that has won you the most money ever? I showed that screenshot from the 2022 season where we had 2 teams in the Big Dog finals. I won the Big Dog, won the Bulldog 2, got 16th place in Best Ball Mania. I don't know if we have a screenshot of the team, though, handy. I can pull up the screenshot of all those, like, finishes. Let me see. This is the screenshots. Yeah, I think I only posted one screenshot of that. I think we went over the teams that won, like, in YouTube videos, but it'd be hard for me to find the teams, like, just a screenshot real quick. Okay, Trey Harris goes 11:07. Trey Harris, I think, even gets hurt worse in regular redraft leagues than he does. I'm sorry. Yeah, in regular redraft leagues than he does in best ball. It's like, good luck figuring out when you're going to start this dude now. So these are my highest rankings, the quarterbacks like Fields, Goff, Herbert. But realistically, having Jaden Daniels here is going to be tough to take that QB. Looking at the expert average, it's all quarterbacks at the very top. So what I'm actually going to do here, so I'm going to go back to my ranks. I'm going to take Dallas Goedert, and I'm going to take Nick Chubb. I know Nick Chubb's a massive reach if you're looking at the expert average, but I really like Nick Chubb in one of the final few rounds of your draft because he may be a starting running back week 1, depending on the situation that you have when it comes to the Joe Mixon injury. And if Joe Mixon's good to go, then Nick Chubb will be an easy player to cut. And that's kind of what I'm looking for in the final 3 rounds. I know I always talk about that, but I don't want to take these players that are just kind of get stuck on my roster that I'm like, oh, I never really expected anything from them week 1 anyway, so how can I cut them right after? Like, no, I think the players you take in the final few rounds of your draft, generally, you should probably hope to see them week 1. That way you can get you get a clear sense of what you should be doing with them right after. But we'll see where the league analyzer has us in the league rankings after this. Yesterday, the expert average had us dead last, had us at 12th. Again, it seems like that's what happens often when we take Brock Bowers. But hopefully this time when we pass on Bowers gives us a little more credit. We'll see. Okay. Mr. C says, about to sign up on Flock. Is there a code I should use? It really comes down to whatever creator on flockfantasy.com you want answering your start, sit questions, trade questions. If you use promo code FLOCK when you sign up, I'll be the one to answer your start, sit questions and your trade questions during the season. Obviously, you could buy start, sit questions or trade questions from anybody during the year. But if you sign up for the $34 season pass, you're going to get those free vouchers for those start, sit questions and trade questions. And if you use promo code FLOCK, they would apply to me, where I'd be the one to be answering yours. So, again, if you want me to answer it, it's code FLOCK. If you'd rather have somebody else answer it, it'd be their code. Isaac Grindo goes the 1212. Definitely use a code. That way you can get those free questions answered. And promo code FLOCK, again, would be mine. Jared Goff, 1301. I think we can take a quarterback if we really want to here at the very end of the draft, as we already mentioned. And what I like about taking Dallas Goedert with Loveland is I probably actually start Dallas Goedert at the beginning of the season. And then just have Loveland there for the upside that you get near the end of the season. Mr. C says, oh, so I need a season pass to browse the website. You don't need a season pass to do everything on the website. Like, you can get in these mock drafts for free without a season pass, but the season pass unlocks everything on the site for you. Like, nothing will be behind a paywall if you have the season pass. Okay. Narcos says, how do you feel about best ball? I love best ball. Specifically, Underdog Best Ball is probably one of my favorite things that has ever happened to fantasy football, which sounds aggressive for me to say, but it's true. We're going to take Miles Sanders here. Again, I think Miles Sanders is a great example of I'll know if I can cut him after week 1. And then we'll take McCarthy as our second quarterback in the last round. I think McCarthy has a high enough ceiling that you could potentially see him get some trade value where I'm able to send him and Jacoby Myers to get an up tier at wide receiver after the first month of the year. Sia Max says the Underdog link's not working for you. I will send you a new Underdog link. Let me pull this up real quick. And one thing too, if you wanted to draft on Underdog, here's what you can actually do if you're watching this on your anything but your phone. Like if you have your phone to scan a QR code. That's a QR code that will just do the Underdog link for you. Here's also the Underdog link that I just sent in the chat that says draft with us here. But that's the link to draft on Underdog Fantasy. And again, if you use promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy, you'll get those 50 draft sheets of ours sent to your email for free. As long as you make a $10 deposit. Okay, Michael Penix goes, Brenton Strange off the board. Please, League Analyzer, put some respect on my name. Here's my guess. I'm going to guess I am third in the league with the quarterback rank. I'm going to guess that I'm not going to look at the review until, oh crap, it just bounced us. Actually, I guess we can just go right here, right? You're telling, you got to be kidding me. How the hell am I 12th? How? Ridiculous. Throw this website in the garbage. Saying I have the second best quarterback room with Jaden Daniels, JJ McCarthy. The 8th best running back room with Ashton Genty, RJ Harvey, Jalen Ward, Nick Chubb, Miles Sanders. 7th best wide receiver room with St. Brown, Adams, Ridley, Golden, Myers. The 7th best tight end room with Loveland, Dallas Goedert. So I have an elite quarterback room, an average wide receiver room, average tight end room, and slightly below average running back room, and I'm 12th? F it. Here's what it is. The freaking expert average ranks are garbage. Don't use them. This may or may not be my website, but don't use them. They're garbage. Throw them in the garbage. Clearly, this is what matters. My rankings putting me at 3. Dear God. I'll admit when I had a bad draft, but I like this draft. This draft is completely fine. If I had this in the Flock League, I'd be happy rolling into the season. I really would. But I think that's all I got for y'all in this stream. Hopefully it's not too late. Hopefully Lady still wants to watch some Happy Gilmore. I may or may not have told her I was going to be done with this stream an hour ago, but it is what it is. If you ask for forgiveness, not permission. But appreciate you, ladies and gentlemen, hanging out with us. Obviously, we'll be streaming Underdog drafts every single day till the season starts. We'll be streaming mock drafts on flockfantasy.com every day until the season starts. Love for you to get in a Flock tournament with us on Underdog. We're going to be doing those every Sunday, Tuesday, Friday until the season starts. The Flock Tournament 3 is still live right now on Underdog. You can go ahead and get in that whenever you want. And also, $34 season pass. I stand by. I think flockfantasy.com is the most valuable website you're possibly going to find to get you prepared for your draft, as well as managing your team throughout the entire season. And we just made it $34. So in my opinion, it's not going to be the best site for best ball. I'll be honest with you here. Not going to be the best site. If you're trying to go on DraftKings, FanDuel, play DFS, that's not our site. But if you're drafting a team on ESPN, Yahoo, Sleeper, NFL Fantasy, CBS, you're not going to find something better. You're not going to find something cheaper either. Only $34 gets you access to everything until January 1st. Promo code FLOCK. I'll answer your start set questions and your trade questions for free during the live streams in season. But flockfantasy.com, code FLOCK. Scan the QR code. Appreciate you, and really hope you get